Hello, Phil here from Irish Board Gamer, and welcome to hopefully a short video tutorial on D&D Beyond and creation of homebrew content. Now, if you're like me, you might end up having a load of books there, and that's great. And then you come over with COVID and everything else, or you're playing games with people all over your country or Europe or wherever, and people are using different systems. Some are using Roll20, some are using Fantasy Ground, and you might end up buying, like I did, content in Fantasy Ground, and then I won't say regretting it, but then you find, oh, there's a system that's actually better, or maybe D&D and Beyond is better, or whatever else, and you've got to make the decision then: do I buy the Player's Handbook again and the Monster Manual, even if I just want to buff up, take the basic character and add a couple of things to it? And the answer is you're probably not going to buy all that content again. So we were running a campaign which we're streaming called the Black Pig of Dublin, and one of the characters is an NPC, but he's central to the group, and or she, I should say, and she's a wizard dog. So I wanted to create spells. And anyway, I didn't want to use just the out of the box spells because it didn't really make sense. So, like Healing Word was something I wanted to use, but I wanted to use in a slightly different context. So I went, what I'll do is I'll take the character and then I'll create homebrew content spells and add them into my character. Now, in theory, you can actually create any of the spells that are in the premium content of the player handbook, do them manually, put them into your system, and then use them. And once you're not selling them on or whatever else, if you're just using them for private use, the D&D and Beyond police aren't going to knock down your door. So there's a lot of people doing homebrew stuff for different reasons. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to take a character that I had created, and I wanted to add a slightly modified healing word spell in it. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through that, how I'll do it on this. So D&D is an interface I really do, and I wish I'd bought my electronic copies of the couple of books that I have bought in Fantasy Ground in this system. But we are where we are. Yeah. Excuse me. We are where we are, so I'm going to start here. So where do you find it? Well, if you look here, collections, and then there's homebrew creations. Well, this is one way. There's other ways of getting into it, and you can see here's your options: create monster, create magic items, create background. So I'm not homebrewing a monster in this one. I actually have, if I go into my characters here, my existing characters I've made, this character here, Chewy, I want to add in a spell that's very much like a healing word. So that's what I'm going to do. So go into collections and go over to create spell. So you go into create spell, and what's handy about this is it'll come up as a template of a lot of the spells that are already created. So I'm going to be using basing off healing word. So I'm going to take healing word, and I can create, or I can create from scratch, but I'm going to use this as a template. So copy of healing word. So basically the dog can slobber on them, so it's called dog slobber is the name of the spell. The dog can do it as a bonus action. This is version 1. This is for your own tracking. It's a first level spell. Evocation school. Does it need? Well, it's voice, it's bark, so the dog is going to bark. A creature of your choice that can see within. Right now I'm going to have it that the dog has to be able to touch, so a creature of your choice that you can lick, let's say, regains hit points equal to 1d plus. That's fine, that's not a problem. Duration is instantaneous. It's not ranged, so it's touch, and duration is irrelevant, and we're only going to do the bare minimum for this. Now I'm going to leave something here, which is something that caught me out earlier when I was trying this. So I'm going to go hit save changes, and if everything is done, yeah, okay, so it's gone to this one, and it is now created. Now I can submit my spell to the, if you like, a repository of homebrew spells that people made. It won't accept it because it'll come up it's too close to healing word, because it's basically healing word with just a couple of text changes, so I can't. But if I come up with a new fantastic spell that I wanted to use and other people to use, I could actually submit it for people in the community to use. So dog slobber is created. So now what you would think you would do, and what you should do, is you go back into your characters. So you normally come into your characters and you pick the character that you wanted. And so this is the character sheet. I really do like the D&D Beyond, the way it comes up with the stuff compared to Fantasy Ground. It's very very old fashioned. Okay, so go to builder. So this is in a sense the editor. So Chewy, the dog, is based off the wizard character. So what you'd feel like, and you can see Chewy's a level 4 character. So you'd go into spells, and you've created your dog slobber spell. So you come down here to add spells. You can see there's other spells there. It's opting, and you go dog. And you go search, and it's not there. And you go, oh right, okay, what's wrong? Okay, several things could have happened. The most common one is that you haven't enabled homebrew content. By default, when you create a new character, homebrew content is enabled. So let's just check that. And you can see, oh, here's the homebrew content. And you can see, oh, it's enabled. That didn't work. There's another way to view whether you have homebrew content enabled or not, and that's from the character sheet. So I'll just go back onto the character sheet. And if you come over here, there's a tab here, which is very handy, and it brings up extra information. So I'm going to click now on the profile picture of the character, and you can come down here and you see there's one preferences, and you can see homebrew contents on and off. So this is nice. You can have homebrew content, and then in game you can switch it off, but it's the same tab. So you go, okay, it's on and off. What's the problem here? And this flummoxed me for a while, and someone here out here knows this, may have already spotted that. So just go back to the editor. And the problem is, if you look at, don't forget, it was based off the spell healing word. So let's have a look and see, can we add the healing word spell? And that should be the clue. And you go, oh, heal isn't there. So it doesn't see healing word. And the reason is that Chewy, the dog, is based off the wizard class, but the spell that we created is not necessarily accessible by the wizard class. So in other systems, you can assign any spell to any creature or class or whatever else. But D&D Beyond, it actually checks to see, can that spell be assigned to that class? Now, it's not a problem, because remember, our spell is a homebrew spell, so we can just go back into our create spell option. Well, actually, so we don't want to, we go into view my creations here. So, and we can see there is dog slobber. So, now it says never submitted, meaning that it hasn't gone to the community. So if I edit here, and go into edit, and I can see blah blah blah. Here we go, classes. The only classes that can use dog slobber at the moment are Bard, Cleric, Druid, and Alchemist. And Chewy, our dog character, is based on a wizard one. So let's go into edit, and we can change it under basic information. We go in, click it open, and we can see down here. Now, maybe we don't want this spell to belong to any of these characters. So we can, this is one way that we can take the standard healing word spell that is only applicable to bards or whatever else, and apply them to either a class that they shouldn't belong to because you're homebrewing something, or even a new class, a homebrew class that you've created. In this case, this spell is going to be accessible by wizards. So we save that change. We go back up to our characters. We go back down to Chewy the dog, and we'll go back into Chewy the dog spells. And now we'll try and add dog. Oh, and look, as if by magic, dog slobber has appeared. So Chewy can learn that, and then Chewy can, if they want to, from their spell book, they can prepare it. So now when Chewy goes into battle, it has magic missile and dog slobber prepared. And let's go back to our character sheet, and we can see our character sheet is here. And if we go across to actions, sorry, spells even, we can now see dog slobber is there. We can cast it, and what's nice about this system as well is the comes up here automatically as we use them, and we can do a dice roll, and we can see them all there. Roll the D1, D2, 1D2, 1D4, and we can minimize them or see the dice rolls. Oh, away we go. Okay, so that is, very quickly, how to add a custom spell, a homebrew spell, to an existing class. Remember, the two takeaway things are, you must have on the preference, and you can do it from here, you must have the homebrew content enabled, and on the spell that you're creating must be for the class of the person or creature that you're adding to. In this case, Chewy was a wizard. Healing is not, the healing word spell is not for wizards normally, it's for bards and clerics and those type of people. So when we created dog slobber from base to that one, it was actually still not acceptable to the wizard class. But through the homebrew spell actions, we can actually tag this spell. So it does mean it's very powerful, and it means you can either allow, once your DM is happy with it, classes that wouldn't normally be able to use that magic can use these spells. Okay, thank you for listening.